Well, shalom, everybody. This is Dave from Universal Truth of Mankind. That's utlm.org. Come and check our website. On the website, I always have the latest video there. So if you ever wonder what's latest, you can just go to the website and it'll appear. Anyway, we're going to continue more about the menorah. However, please, if you have not watched 22, 23, 24, and 25, please go back and watch any of them that you have not seen. And watch them in order, because they do build upon each other. And we're starting to slowly get ourselves to understanding this whole idea of those 7 sephirotes, the 7 countings, and those attributes being part of us. After all, the Creator can't create anything other than its nature. So if we are created from a Creator, then it's only obvious we will have those attributes within ourselves. Anyway, so here's the menorah. Just to recap. As I said, there's 7 here, 7 sephirotes. Okay. Now, remember last time, I showed you, and let me get this, there we go. I showed you the double menorah. And you see a space between the upper and the lower. So let me explain what you're looking at right here. The upper is black and white. Everything's black and white. There is no such thing as a mixture of things. Everything is in its proper order and its proper place. That represents the spiritual realm. Below you see gold and you see blue. Now gold, as I mentioned before, represents purity. It represents a transformation of yourself. And the menorah represents the balance of those attributes that we inherited from the Creator. After all, we're created in its image. We know the top is fixed, cannot be moved. It is what it is. But the bottom is where the work, the transformation takes place. And that's us. That's in the realm of what's called action, the realm of action, where the rubber meets the road and where we have to fix ourselves, balance ourselves, teach ourselves, and so on and so forth, in order to become a more perfected creature, more complete creature. Now, eventually we will be complete, but we're not right now. So it's going to take time for that to happen. But you also see the blue. Blue also represents water. The teachings of the Hebrew scriptures is considered water. The Torah is considered water. What does water do? Well, it refreshes, it revivifies, it revives. It also it cleans. It helps plants to grow. Our bodies are mostly water. So the idea of water and what water represents is how we should be working our lives. We should be flowing with the teachings of the Creator. Okay, now, I want to focus on one explicit part of this. Again, here it is, and you see the middle where the white and the blue meet. And you see the menorahs don't exactly touch. So you have to ask yourself, what's in between there? What is it that permits that separation? Probably hear my chickens in the background again. Permits the separation of those two where they don't directly connect. Oh, and also I want to explain one other thing with the menorah. When you think of the menorah, this is what we think of. But when we think of ourselves, what we should be thinking of is one may be a little lower, one may be a little higher, one end. maybe one end may be almost missing. You follow? They should be all uneven in your mind. Out of order, too short, too long. That's the way we are, and it's our job to bring them into a level state, a balanced state. Bring them into a harmony. That's our objective. And then in the future videos, I'm going to be showing how we can help that process. And we're going to touch on one of them today, but later on. All right, so what is in between those two menorahs? You care to guess? Well, firstly, let's take a look at the realistic picture of it. It's showing that there's an upper and a lower. It's showing that there's two parts of our existence. And we're going to call it upper, and we're going to call it lower. So we have to ask ourselves, what's upper and what's lower? Now, we know, like I said, the upper is perfected, and that's the spiritual realm. Now, spiritual realm is part of creation. People don't realize, many don't realize that, but it's part of creation. But it's a fixed part of creation. It's the part of creation that is above, but has not fully flowed down to the bottom yet, or to the lower. So we have an upper and a lower. We have an upper realm and a lower realm. The lower realm, we'll just say physical for now. The upper realm is spiritual. And it is our task to bring down the spiritual to the lower. And when we do that, we transform our menorah. We transform who we are. We create something called tikkun olam, which means to return. Remember, we came from above. Therefore, we will return to that state. But everything's being flowed, it still has to flow down. So what's above still has to flow to our level. So you ask yourselves, hold on one second, sorry about this. All of a sudden I think I have some allergies again. Hold on. Oh, that's better. So we have that upper perfected form, the lower non-perfected. So what is it that permits a flow, but a lower rate of flow? Because above was created just is. It was created in that perfect order. We were created not in that perfect order. As I've said before, the Creator creates something from nothing, and it's our job to create something from something. That's our task in creation. So, what is it? It's called time. Time is the barrier between those two. Time permits a metering, a flow of wisdom and understanding to our level. And why is that? Well, time also equals mercy. Because if the spiritual realm dumped down into our realm instantaneously, we wouldn't have the freedom of choice. We wouldn't have the opportunity to transform ourselves. And in a sense, the Creator would null and void its contract with us by permitting us to create something from something. He already created something from nothing. So now we have to create something from something. And we create it through those 7 attributes, the countings. As I keep repeating over and over, we'll get used to this. So time gives us mercy, gives us time in order to transform. Because if we didn't have time, what would happen? We would be all judged. See, time is the distance between judgment and action and judgment. How many times have we seen bad people do bad things and it seems like they don't get in trouble? We see that in politics all the time. People who don't do anything get in trouble, and those who do something don't get in trouble. There's always that projecting onto other people. You do something wrong, but you try to blame the other person for doing that wrong. And this goes back and forth. And we may say, oh, that's in politics, that's true. No, we do it in our own lives. Why do we get upset with people sometimes over nothing? Well, maybe it's because we see something in them that we have in ourselves. So you do a projection. That type of an idea. Well, if the Creator just flooded right in, none of us would exist. None of us would have the opportunity to be transformed. Now, this transformation, I'll do this in another video, is multi-generational. So don't think that you have to complete it all in this one existence of yourself. No, it's something that takes generations to accomplish. So, that's the reason for time. Time equals mercy. Now, we also, the upper and the lower, we can think in terms of the soul. We have an upper and lower soul. We have a soul of ourselves that exists here in the physical realm, and we have a soul of ourselves that exists in the upper realm, in the spiritual realm. We are literally two people. We are literally two souls. We are a soul above, we are a soul below. Remember I said that Elohim represents the 7 attributes that are in us? Well, there's an Elohim above and an Elohim below. As I said, in I think it was Psalms 82:6, that we are Elohim, but we're little e Elohim. So the lower Elohim is the little e. The spiritual Elohim is the big E, to use the English spelling of Elohim with the alphabet. There's an upper Elohim and a lower Elohim. And we are the lower Elohim. So there's the difference between the upper and the lower. So we have, again, a responsibility to transform ourselves. And that's the constant picture that we have here, is the transformation is up to us, not up to anyone else. You can't believe in something and then all of a sudden you're perfected. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. Your task is to create something from something. You're given a bunch of lumber, now you got to build your house. And that takes wisdom and understanding to accomplish. And those wisdom and understanding comes through those 7 Sephiroth. So we have an upper and a lower Elohim. So when we talk about Elohim, which is it, upper or lower? Now, what's also interesting is the upper, lower Elohim equate to a part of the soul called neshama. The neshama is a very important part of the soul of our existence because it represents the upper and lower selves. There's an upper neshama and a lower neshama. There's an upper Elohim and a lower Elohim. There's the spiritual realm. There's the physical realm. So what does Elohim represent? Well, it represents our thoughts. Remember I said before that we're like two people? We have an upper part of ourselves and a lower part of ourselves. The upper is perfected, the lower is not. The upper is trying to feed the lower so it will benefit and become more perfected generation by generation. So we have this, again, a flow down that takes place, but it's metered, it's slowed down to transform what? Ourselves mentally, in our minds. Our minds is where we create our reality. So the upper soul is always trying to transform the lower mind's reality. You talk about alternate realities. Well, what we think is our reality. So how does it do this? Well, remember what I was talking about? Are you a soul with a body or a body with a soul? If you're a body with a soul, you're never going to transform. But if you're a soul with a body, now you know there's a priority. The soul, the upper soul is the priority. The lower soul is not the priority. The lower soul has to be transformed by the upper soul. And that takes place in our minds. we have to choose and be willing to be transformed. By being a soul with a body helps you to raise your awareness. Now, there are levels of awareness within us, within society, within our existence, and we can basically see this through history if you study it closely. The first thing we need is what? Our basic needs: food, water, shelter, and procreating. Then after that, we want wealth. See, if you're only interested in food, water, shelter, and procreating, you're kind of fixed for the day, right? Oh, I need food. I feel this hunger. Let me go get food. Oh, I feel thirsty. Let me go get this food. Oh, I need shelter now. It's starting to snow. You get shelter. Well, rather than living day by day, you choose to live through preparation. So you will now have a tub of water, a bottle of water, or bottles of water, and you will have a source of food, meaning you're gonna grow wheat, vegetables, fruits, and you store those for a little while. That's called wealth. Then you say, well, that's great. I got all my needs, my daily needs. Now I got my future needs taken care of. But now I got to protect my future needs. Someone comes along and tries to take what? My food, my water, so on and so forth. So now you want power. And with power, now you control. You protect what you have. The next one, which is what we see in the world right now, we're at that level. But now we are now raising our level of awareness now to what? Knowledge. We're in the middle of a psyops operation. Knowledge is what we're all after. Transparency is what we're after, which means knowledge. We want to see. We want to double check. We want to make sure that everything is on the up and up. That's all knowledge. The very next step, which is why this is a good thing, is we will be looking for the Creator Himself. And so each phase we go through, each soul, as we search into our soul, we become aware of a higher and higher order of the soul. So awareness is what we're after, a growth of awareness. A lot of people go through life unaware of anything. We don't know how they do it, but somehow they always survive and they go through it. But they have empty lives. Experience gives us knowledge. They're not experiencing anything. And it's sad to see people in that state. All right, so you see, there's upper soul, lower soul. The idea of the upper soul is to bring more awareness to our lower soul. Now, you may be asking, well, that's fine and good, Dave, but how do you propel that? How do you make this happen? That's a good question. How do you know that you're going to have a connection to your upper soul? Sometimes we talk to ourselves trying to think things out. Well, who are we talking between? The upper and lower soul is what we're typically doing. Or we can choose to remain lower, and then we compartmentalize our lives, and we become schizophrenics, bipolar. Now, I'm not saying there aren't physical reasons for that. There are. But how much is a physical reason versus a ultimate reality desire? And I think I just hit the word. Desire. If you have the desire for the Creator, you have the desire for your greater self. That connects you with the upper self. It's that simple. Desire. That's what the Creator has given us. Like I said, you desire food, water, shelter. You desire wealth, then you desire power, and then you desire knowledge, and then you desire the Creator. Socially speaking, we're starting to transition out of power, wealth and power. We're slowly transitioning into knowledge. And once we're at the knowledge point, then we will start developing a desire for the Creator, communally speaking. Individually, we can be at that state already. Desire is the key here. Time equals mercy. Upper and lower. Let's see how all this fits. And this is what will transform our world. I'm sorry I ran over a little bit. I try to keep it literally to about 18 minutes, if not a little less. But I'm trying to help everyone understand what's going on, because as I start presenting you with more tools and more reveal more to you to help you to understand these 7 countings and how to apply them into your lives, it will give us a knowledge and a wisdom. I mean, this will give you some knowledge and wisdom to help you do that, help convince you this is what we need to do. Because we do need a little bit of convincing. That's where I'm at. I'm in a convincing mode right now. And then eventually we will start being in the work mode. We're very close. A couple more videos. Maybe not. A couple of videos. We'll see. I had to think this out. But we're darn close. But desire is the key if you want to transform your life. You have to desire the upper self. Remember Abraham, Leka, Genesis 12:1. He went into himself. He not only left his people, he broke off all the connections so he would be free to go within himself to discover the real self and then transform his lower self to match the upper self. All right, I hope this all makes sense. I want to thank you all for giving me your time. I greatly appreciate it. And I hope these videos help you. Shalom, shalom, everybody.